Dallas Cowboys fans, this is what you've been looking for. A show discussing the team you love without all the fluff and BS. Host Greg Rector, along with Cowboys writers and content creators from across the country, break it down. This isn't the same old, same old. This is the blue and silver breakdown. How about them Cowboys?
Hey everybody, this is that great Cowboys 1964. If you watch The Last Word, you'll understand that my Greg Cowboys account has been ripped off, and I'm not going to bother trying to get it back. So if you do follow Greg Cowboys, just block that account, please and thank you. It's now Greg Cowboys 1964. This is the blue and silver breakdown, and let's go over what happened last night. It was a disgusting display. Jacoby Brissett was fantastic for the Cardinals, and he's going to start again against Seattle this week. So, hey, there you have it. The Dallas Cowboys played horribly last night, yet again. It was a frustrating night to be a fan of the Cowboys. And again, it was basically a disaster waiting to happen, and that's exactly what we got to witness. It's basically a terrible viewing event last night. Again, it was basically the Cowboys defense absolutely sucked again last night. I'm shocked that they only gave up 27 points. But, you know, we did have some very good news today. Jerry Jones promised us a deal. Well, this morning we got Logan Wilson, the middle linebacker from the Cincinnati Bengals, for a 7th-round pick. And then later on, we also acquired Quinnen Williams, which does my heart very good because Mozzie Smith is no longer a Dallas Cowboy. Thank you. You know, it's a 2026 second-round pick, and the 2027, whichever pick is actually going to be higher in 2027 is the pick that the Jets will get between the Cowboys and the Packers. So hopefully we have a better season in 2026 than the Packers do. We finally have a real run stopper, the best run stopper in the NFL. And he's under contract until 2027, as is Wilson. Wilson is, of course, he demanded a trade. Basically, he wasn't being used by the new DC, which is not unusual. I mean, DCs have their players, and this guy decided to use the 2 young kids. But Wilson has 11 interceptions in the last 5 seasons. That's more than any other linebacker in the league. Please, dear God, Matt Eberflus, put him in as the middle linebacker. Do not keep Kenneth Murray there. The days of Murray being the middle linebacker should end. He was just disgusting. Yeah, will the Dallas linebackers follow Wilson's on Logan's run? We will hope so. Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams to cause opposing ground games plenty of despair. We shall see. I certainly think they can. It's going to be a lot of work. I think Solomon Thomas could also find himself moving out to the edge a little bit more often because he's done that in the past as well. That would also assist the Dallas defense in the run-stopping category. We'll see what happens with that. But again, last night it was just another disgusting display by the Cowboys defense. You know, and I don't blame Duron Bland for getting burned by Marvin Harrison. It was basically time for Harrison to show up, and Jacoby Brissett was finding the guy. There's nothing wrong with that. It happens. it was basically just the disaster waiting to happen. I kind of thought it might, but again, we'll see what happens with the rest of the season here. Now, of course, the Cowboys are on their bye week. They're 3-5-1. They actually have the 14th pick overall in the draft. So they moved up one spot. Last week it was 15. We'll see what happens with the rest of the season. However, my grades for the Cowboys. I'm gonna start with Dak Prescott, who basically the last two games has basically been horrible, but the rest of the games that man has been on fire. It has been a pleasure to watch Prescott most of the season. The bad part, these games do happen. It always seems to happen against Arizona for whatever reason. Buda Baker, he causes a fumble. There was two other fumbles. It really did suck seeing the Cowboys fumble the ball away. And Mr. Pickens, why are you taunting anybody? You do not do that BS any longer in the NFL. You don't need to do that. And again, that cost the Cowboys. It was definitely a big trade for us, Julio. Williams, of course, was the third overall pick. He has been superb since coming out of the University of Alabama. And I suspect the Cowboys will be a whole lot harder to run against with Quinnen Williams in the defensive tackle room. Oso Odighizuwa, I think he may be finding his number of snaps falling down. We'll see what happens with that. But again, in terms of the Cowboys grades, I'm going to give Prescott a B plus. I know the last couple of weeks have basically sucked. Javonte Williams, I think he gets an A grade. Again, Williams had a lot to prove. He's done so. He's got the running yards that the Cowboys do need. Jaden Blue, of course, he gets a C grade. He's a rookie. I didn't expect him to be doing that much, being a 5th round draft pick. If the Cowboys start using Jaden Blue more as a receiver, however, that would be a positive as far as I'm concerned, because that young man as a receiver, when he had open field at Texas, was a dynamite guy. That's just a hint, Brian Schottenheimer. Just a little hint, okay? But again, the receivers, George Pickens, except for that stupid taunting penalty last night, he gets an A as well. You just have to stop doing that type of stuff, George Pickens. That stuff is just ridiculous. CeeDee Lamb, he gets a B for me. I mean, he was hurt. Obviously, that brings his grade down a little bit for me. Kevontae Turpin also, coming back from an injury. That was another aspect last night that they did not get a very good block in front of him on the kickoff returns or the punts or anything like that. And again, if Kevontae gets loose, that's a whole different ball game. Ryan Flournoy, that young man, he deserves a B plus as well. He's been outstanding. Jalen Tolbert, I'm sorry, your days are numbered with the Cowboys. I don't know what's going to happen with Jonathan Mingo. We'll see what happens there. But again, Ryan Flournoy, he just deserves so much credit. And of course, on NFL Draft Central, Jeff, Bill, and myself were all very, very excited that the Cowboys were able to get Flournoy. He was just phenomenal in his college career. So everyone is talking about pleading with GM Jerry to practically force Pickens to sign before season's end against their mutual agreement to wait until then. Kick the harmful PF habit first. Yeah. It's basically it's again, he needs to not taunt anybody. You know, they can attack any defense and dare them to keep up, even with a collapsing O line from which Dak can escape. Very true as well. The offensive line, I give them a B minus this year. I gave them a big A plus in that game where 4 of the 5 starters were out. But again, Terrence Steele, he brings down this grade every week. Nathan Thomas replaced him last night. I would really like to see Thomas be the right tackle. Give him more snaps than Terrence Steele. I've said this before. Terrence Steele was a fine run blocker, but he never ever was very good against the pass rush. And when you're playing right tackle, you got guys like T.J. Watt and all those guys lining up at you. You're just a nightmare. Waiting to happen. And again, that goes just like they re-signed Michael Gallup when he was out with an ACL. They did the same thing with Terrence Steele, which is something I just never understood. Terrence Steele, he needs to leave Dallas. Thomas did have a bit of a rough time against the Cardinals, but again, that's a very veteran defensive group that they've got. They could give anybody issues, but again, Thomas, I think, will be the guy that goes out at right tackle. Now let's move over. Let's move over. Well, Jake Ferguson, of course, he has to get it. He has to get an A plus. I mean, the guy just catches everything that Prescott throws at him. He doesn't get any yak yardage, but hey, what can you do? But the defensive line, Donovan Izaraku has started to play much better. I'm not sure why he wasn't rushing the quarterback as well to begin the year. Was this an Eberflus thing that he just wanted him out there for a few giggles or something? I'm not sure. But Dante Fowler, he only has a bull rush. That's the only move the guy has. And if he has no luck of getting a quarterback, well, you're in trouble. Sam Williams, he had the block punt last night, but guess what? That doesn't do much for me. Goodbye, Sam. You got to go. Marshawn Nealon, he is a solid player. I didn't expect him to be this pass rushing guru. I expected him to be a better run stopper. We'll see what happens with Nealon going forward. The linebacking core, Kenneth Murray, you have got to be gone. You were just horrible. DeMarion Overshown appears to be heading back for the Cowboys on the 17th. Dante Fowler paid per disappearing act. Yeah, he certainly does. The other linebackers, I don't think they've been using them correctly at all this year. But again, that's Eberflus's system. Again, they've had a lot of injuries as well. It's of course the secondary has just been a nightmare. The safeties have all been injured. It's basically been Marquise Bell out there by himself. What can you do if you're just the one guy? The corners, Deron Bland, you're a B minus currently. Trayvon Diggs, I have no idea what's going to happen with him. for Trayvon Diggs. We'll see what happens with Diggs. Kaiir Elam actually played well last night. He made some very good plays last night. But again, under Eberflus's system, he's looked lost. He doesn't understand where to be. It's just been this entire mess of things using the zone defense that Eberflus uses. It really is disgusting. I hope Mr. Schottenheimer sits Eberflus down this week when they're off and say, we're going to play much more man-to-man. I'm sorry. Your scheme does not work with this group of players. He should be the slot corner. He's got his new contract, so he should be fine in the slot. Savon Ravel should be able to play as well against the Raiders, according to Schottenheimer today at his press conference. We'll see what happens. I know I love Ravel in this draft. He was one of my top 5 corners. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. And Kalen Carson, you weren't picked by this coaching staff, so they've got no use for you. I don't know what Kalen Carson can actually do. Bland is definitely a man-to-man without question, and Eberflus's zone overuse has its negative impact. Again, when you come into a team and you only want to use your system, that is such stupidity. It is absolute stupidity. And again, I've said this time and time again when it came to Eberflus's usage of the zone defense, it has just been a nightmare. Again, it's got to be something that changes. The zone defense came into the NFL really because of Don Meredith and the late great Bob Hayes. That's when the zone defense became big. Was because you couldn't stop Bullet Bob Hayes. So they came up with this zone. Well, are you facing a Bullet Bob Hayes? Not every week you're not. It was basically disgusting to watch again last night, seeing that zone. It just drives me off the deep end. You use a zone every once in a while. You got to play man-to-man in the NFL. I don't care. With the guys that you have out there, they need to be a man-to-man defense. Much, much more. So those are my grades of the Cowboys. Fit the system to the players, not the players to the system, according to Parcells, who actually had to understand that when he did come to Dallas and he wanted to install his 3-4 defense. But again, no, the Cowboys play 4-3. I'm sorry. And that's why I didn't like Parcells being hired. I didn't like it at all because I knew what he was going to try to do to that defense, and of course it happened and it was a disaster. But again, it's really going to be an interesting time to see what the Cowboys do with this season. I'm looking at the schedule. You've got the Raiders. You've got to stop Brock Bowers, of course. Outside of that, they've traded away Jacoby Myers. That 3-4 definitely irritated me because I'm sorry, I watched the Doomsday 1 and the Doomsday 2 defenses. So yes, we were a 4-3. Thank you very much. It's definitely an opportunity then against Kansas City on Thanksgiving. I've said all year long, I don't see the Kansas City Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl. Now, of course, I could be dead wrong about those Eagles, unfortunately, um, which really irritates me seeing Jaden Daniels go down because I figured the Commanders would walk away with this division this year. And of course, Howie has been very busy in the trade market again. He had 4,500 snaps to replace on his defense. And obviously, that first version of the defense this year was very shaky. Now he's got Phillips, he's got Carter and Alexander. He just carries on doing what he does. He does what it takes to improve the Eagles every single day. Yes, I give Jerry Jones credit. He said that we would get a better group of players in here after the Micah Parsons deal. Well, Quinnen Williams is certainly a better player, and Kenny Clark is a very good DT as well. So we'll see what happens as far as the DT room goes. If I was drafting today for the Cowboys, I would have the 14th pick currently. I'm still taking Sonny Styles because that man can cover like nobody's business. He was a former safety. I know the other linebacker for Ohio State is very popular as well, but I see him going much earlier than Sonny Styles does. So I'll take Styles at 14. Yes, the Packers did lose, so that moved us up a few spots there as well. I'm still taking Chasen Howell from Texas A&M or David Bailey, the Texas Tech edge. Those are my picks. But again, it's hard to say which way the Cowboys do go because the corners and the safeties need replacing as well. Without a second round pick this year, we all know Caleb Downs will be gone long before the Cowboys pick their second half, their second player. Yeah, absolutely, Sonny Styles and any capable corner with safety experience. But Sonny Styles is just such a good linebacker for the Ohio State Buckeyes. It really is going to depend on where we finish, as far as the draft goes and all that other jazz. But again, the next two games for the Cowboys, they could be 5-5-1. Oh, that might change something. No, it won't. We only have a 7% shot of making the playoffs currently, guys. Don't get too excited. It really does disappoint me to see, Dak Prescott's season go down the tubes that it has in the last 2 weeks. But, this is the Cowboys, and we better be used to this. It's only been 30 years. But again, Jerry Jones does deserve credit. He's added to the team. And again, Micah Parsons is now being questioned about his run defense. What have I said about the guy since he came into this league? His run defense sucks. He has no clue. Well, that's how you went after Lawrence Taylor. Teams go after Micah Parsons on the run game now, like the Niners did and like the Packers did in the playoff losses. That was just a given. And everybody was, Mike is this and Mike is that. No, he isn't that. He's a great pass rusher, but he's too small to continue on just being a pass rusher. He's going to burn himself out yet again. You'll see at the second half of the year, his numbers will go down again. And it's happened every year. GM Jerry loves him some fan anticipation with gripped audience, even when the percentage is only angled towards missing the postseason. Very true. Very true. It doesn't surprise me that there was no contact between Pickens' agent, Mulugeta, and the Cowboys either. Why people go on and on about this stuff is beyond me. Mulugeta was not going to sign any new deal for George Pickens at this point in time. Not a chance. And if Jerry wants to franchise tag him, you know that Mulugeta will all of a sudden have, oh, my back is in, my knee hurts, my shoulders are really sore for Pickens and all that other good sort of stuff as we see every year. Well, let some other team have the guy and we get a third round draft pick if that's the way it's going to be. That's the bottom line of all this, because when Mulugeta has a guy that doesn't get a contract, that's his players. Oh, I think Micah Parsons had a real bad back. That was it this preseason. Yeah, he had a bad back. The agents understand how to play this game. If the Cowboys don't offer Pickens what he wants, and I think it's going to be, right around the same number as CD Lamb. Well, hey, if they decide not to go with that, then we know Pickens is going to be gone. That'll be a third round draft pick. Bottom line. The negotiation idea of Jerry is off the deep end. If the NFLPA had any common sense, they would make sure that fine is a lot higher than the $62,500 for an owner to try to negotiate with a player. Hello, $62,500? I'll tell you what, NFLPA, you give the offensive lineman and the defensive lineman the right to wear pads a little more often and get that big fine increased. Make Jerry pay through the nose. $62,500 is a joke. You make it $6.25 million. Huh? What? I can't talk to a player? Oh. That's more common sense to me. As well, everybody, I would like you to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you are on YouTube and you see the description down there, the Fanatics, I get a little piece of that if you buy any Dallas Cowboys merchandise. So that's always a good thing for a little guy like me. Again, it's gonna be an interesting end to the season. I don't have the Cowboys making the playoffs. I'm sorry, I just don't. The rest of the schedule is ugly. It's not going to be pretty. This Cowboys defense, just with those two players, is not good enough because of the system that Eberflus uses far too often. Until I see him play man-to-man 75% of the time, game after game after game, I'm not a fan of Matt Eberflus. He just uses that zone defense way too much for my liking. Yes, or ban GM Jerry from one game at a time, including the stadium and the team hotel. Yeah, I could support that. But again, I'm not too sure that the Dallas media types would like that because, geez, no word from Jerry after a game. I don't know. That would just be terrible for the Dallas sports media. Yeah, keep on watching and guarantee those highest possible ratings, GM Jerry. Yeah. Again, to all the fans out there of other teams, I'm sorry. The Cowboys do play Thursday nights. And then they've got another Sunday night game and a Monday night game. It's horrible for you guys. It's horrible for us as well. I'm actually waiting to see next year's schedule. I want to see if Jerry actually wants another Super Bowl, and he actually does send the Cowboys to Australia to play the Rams, because that's the game that the Rams really want in Melbourne. They want the Cowboys, and the league has also said if you don't play international games, you're not going to be considered for a Super Bowl. So geez, I'm not sure if Jerry is willing to travel. We'll see what happens with that. But again, yeah, the Cowboys don't make the playoffs this year. It's going to be year 30 in a row now. Yeah. It the international game has to come first before the Cowboys get another Super Bowl. So that's the bottom line. The NFL has already stated this, that you have to play in an international game, and I'm absolutely 100% positive the Rams would love to face the Cowboys in Melbourne. So, that would be the deciding factor if billionaire Jerry decides to add to his $20.5 billion. We'll see what happens with that. Again, it's going to be an interesting time to see where the Cowboys do end up this season. They could finish second in the NFC East, but again, second in the NFC East is going to mean nothing because the NFC West has 3 teams. The NFC North, they've got 4 good teams. Yeah. So again, and the NFC South is going to be represented by Tampa Bay yet again. That's it. You have too many teams ahead of the Cowboys right now in order for the Cowboys to be a playoff consideration. That's the bottom line of the Cowboys season. And again, folks, do like and subscribe to the channel. That's how us small guys survive. And again, it's been a pleasure to be with you tonight. I will be back next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And everybody, take care.